Hey, boys and girls, this book is called Antarctica. This is the table of contents, and the table of contents tells you subjects and chapters that are in the book and what pages they start on. Where is Antarctica? This is a picture, and you'll find in a nonfiction book, pictures can be very helpful, and there are captions underneath the picture that explain them. This says mountains in Antarctica, and this is a map. And a map is another very common thing that you'll find in nonfiction text, and that can also give you a lot of information. And this is a map of Antarctica, and this of the world, and this shows you Antarctica is at the bottom of the world. There are 7 continents in the world. Antarctica is the 5th largest. It surrounds the South Pole. It is shaped almost like a circle. A strip of land sticks out toward South America. Antarctica is the coldest and iciest continent. It is far from the equator. The coldest temperature ever recorded was in Antarctica in 1983. Ice sheet. This is the Transantarctic Mountains, and this is the tabular iceberg Weddell in the Weddell Sea. Almost all of Antarctica is buried under a thick layer of ice and snow. This layer is called the Antarctic sheet. The Antarctic ice sheet has more fresh water than any other area on Earth. If the ice sheet melted, cities on the coasts around the world would be flooded. South Pole. The South Pole is the most famous place in Antarctica. The South Pole and the North Pole are the points around which the Earth spins. So this is the geographic South Pole. People have set up a real pole at the South Pole. A person can easily walk around the world there. In the ice sheet in which the pole is set moves. So if the ice sheet in which the pole is set moves, then the pole has to be moved too. Weather. In the winter, Antarctica gets twice as big. Ocean water around the continent freezes. The Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans surround the continent. So you can see here's Antarctica, and this part is the Pacific Ocean. This is the Scotia Sea. This is the Atlantic Ocean, and this is the Indian Ocean. So 3 oceans come together. Middle Antarctica. The middle of Antarctica is a desert. Very little snow or rain falls there. Wind whips up blizzards from the snow already on the ground, and rain and snow fall along the coasts. Mountains. The Transantarctic Mountains divide east and west Antarctica. Nearby, Mount Erebus is an active volcano. The highest point on the continent is the Vinson Massif. It is in the Ellsworth Mountains in western Antarctica. And this is the Vinson Massif, Ellsworth Mountains. Ice. Huge mountains of ice hang over the sea like shelves. The Ross Ice Shelf is the largest. It is the size of the state of Texas. So here's the Ross Ice Shelf. Iceberg near Elephant Island, Antarctica. Icebergs are formed when ice breaks off and floats free. Some of the world's icebergs float around Antarctica. They are also the largest icebergs in the world. Glaciers. Glaciers are large bodies of ice and snow. Glaciers in Antarctica are slowly moving from the center of the continent to the edges. The snow is so clean that people can melt it to drink. You can't see glaciers move because they move very slowly. but they do move. The ice at the bottom of the glacier gets squashed by the ice above. The whole glacier then slides along. Oceans and seas. The waters around Antarctica circle the continent in a westerly direction. The cold waters of the southern oceans stop the icebergs from melting quickly. Seawater near the coast also protect Antarctica's ice. The cold water stops warmer water from the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans from reaching the melting ice. Animals. About 45 kinds of birds live on Antarctica. Most of these birds fly north for the winter months. The emperor penguin stays. It is one kind of penguin that breeds there. In the past, people hunted the whales and seals that lived in and near Antarctica. Now, there are laws that protect these animals from hunters. Plants. Lichen is the most common plant that grows in Antarctica. It grows like moss on rocks and is bright orange and yellow. Few plants can live in the icy cold climate in Antarctica. The only grass that grows on Antarctica is called tussock. It grows in the areas farthest north where it is the warmest. People, explorers. People tried to explore Antarctica by sailing in wooden ships. Strong, sharp ice easily tore apart their boats. Today, special ice-breaking ships take people to Antarctica. Roald Amundsen. The first person to reach the South Pole was Roald Amundsen in 1911. He used dog sleds. Today, airplanes make the trip easier. All the countries. There are no countries in Antarctica. Many countries from other continents have stations in Antarctica. Scientists work and do experiments there. So you can see all the different places where people are studying. McMurdo Station. Those countries and others have agreed to keep Antarctica open to everyone. Scientists and tourists from every country in the world can work or visit there. Science. Scientists study the stars in the long, dark winter months. Other tests and do experiments on the atmosphere above Antarctica. That looks like a weather balloon. Scientists drill holes in the ice to learn about the climate. Others study the rocks to find out how old they are and what they are made of. Fast facts. Antarctica's thickest ice is more than 15,000 feet, almost 5 miles. The coldest temperature ever recorded was at Vostok Station on July 21st, 1983, and it was negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The island plateau of Antarctica receives no rain. It has one of the driest climates on Earth. Scientists have found fossils in Antarctica, and this means that the continent was once warm and that trees and other plants lived there. Antarctica is dark for 4 months each year. Only a few insects and other tiny animals spend their entire lives on Antarctica. This is a glossary, and the glossary tells you important words that were mentioned in the book and what their definitions are. And this is the index. If you want to read more about Antarctica, these are books you can read. And the index tells you important vocabulary words that are in the book and what pages you can find those words on. Antarctica. I hope you loved it.